Dad, you realize that dialysis is pretty much a death sentence, right? Those words from my son ripped through me like a hot knife. After my blood sugar had spiraled out of control, leading to early stages of kidney failure, and the somber reality that, unless there was a miracle, I was going to need to be hooked up to a dialysis machine for the rest of my life. All those years of pricking my fingers, monitoring blood sugar levels, enduring dizzy spells, the shameful belly weight that refused to budge, the gnawing worry about every meal. And yet still, I'd ended up in this dirty third world hospital, with my terrified son sitting by my side. It was the worst moment of both of our lives. Yet looking back now, we're both so thankful that it happened, because otherwise, I would never have stumbled upon an insulin regenerating breakthrough that turned my life around in a matter of weeks and allowed my blood sugar to drop by more than 120 milligrams over deciliters in just a few short weeks. Hey, it's Dennis Parsons, and inside this very controversial video that everyone from trust the science doctors to greedy pharmaceutical companies want taken off the web, not only will I be unmasking the shocking culprit behind your high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes, but more importantly, I'll also be revealing an incredibly effective and completely natural insulin regenerating breakthrough. Something that was first discovered by tribesmen in a remote Malaysian village where type 2 diabetes doesn't even exist. And that has now been proven and validated by research from scientists at Harvard, UCLA, and Duke University that allows anyone, regardless of their age or how long they've been grappling with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, to rapidly reduce their fasting and post-meal blood sugar levels by 30, 65, even 95 points. And it can even help rebuild crucial organs like your kidneys, liver, brain, and heart. I know those are very big statements, but you'll see the incredible scientific evidence behind this insulin regenerating breakthrough right inside this video. And the best part is that this discovery has nothing to do with tortuous blood sugar monitoring, painful insulin shots, restrictive diets, or starting any new medications. In fact, many people have told me that since using this discovery and talking with their doctors, they were able to cut back on things like insulin or metformin, or get off those drugs entirely. Which is why I'm so confident that once you know what this insulin regenerating breakthrough is and try it for yourself, you'll be amazed by how swiftly your blood sugar levels drop down to below 120 milligrams over deciliters as your energy levels skyrocket, and you no longer feel imprisoned by your diabetes or anxious about your next meal or your upcoming doctor's appointment. Instead, you'll feel truly free. Once again, able to savor your favorite foods, whether it's a greasy cheeseburger, a succulent steak, or a decadent slice of cheesecake, while still knowing that your blood sugar won't experience a dangerous spike, and that your waistline and gut will continue getting slimmer and smaller each day. I know it might sound far-fetched right now, but I can say from personal experience just how powerful this insulin regenerating breakthrough is, since it was the only thing that worked. After high blood sugar caused one of my organs to shut down during an overseas mission trip with my son, it was terrifying. My blood sugar had spiked above 250 milligrams over deciliters, and I thought I was going to die. But now my levels are typically between 90 and 100 milligrams over deciliters, when I even bother to measure them. And everything from my cholesterol to my blood pressure to the inflammation markers in my body have plummeted. And it's not just me. Over 136,498 men and women across the US have seen their lives change thanks to this insulin regenerating breakthrough. Like Jeff in Florida, he says, "For years, my blood sugar was a roller coaster. I was a slave to my glucose monitor, living in constant fear of my next doctor's visit. But after following your advice, my sugar levels have stabilized below 115 milligrams over deciliters, and I've lost 25 pounds. I sleep peacefully knowing I'm finally in control of my health. Thank you." And Susan from Minnesota, she shares, "I've seen my father suffer from the complications of diabetes, and I was terrified I was next. Your video has been a godsend. My blood sugar is consistently below 120 milligrams over deciliters, and the numbness in my feet is gone. I feel hopeful and energized." And Peter from Colorado, who tells me, "Managing my diabetes felt like a never-ending battle. My life was dictated by my blood sugar levels, and I was always anxious about my next meal. But since I started following your guidance, my blood sugar is consistently stable, and I've lost 17 pounds. I feel better than I have in years, and I'm back to enjoying outdoor activities. You've given me my life back. These are real stories from people just like you, and now it's your turn to join them. So let's dive right in. Like I mentioned a few moments ago, my name is Dennis. I'm 53 years old and live in a small town near Nashville, Tennessee. And for me personally, my blood sugar level started getting dangerously high about 6 years ago. At first, it was things like feeling dizzy or faint during work, or always being thirsty, even when I drank water. And I started feeling tired all of the time. Getting out of bed each morning was a Herculean task. I was always sluggish and slow, and concentrating on my work became harder and harder. Together, these symptoms hit me like a wave I hadn't been expecting. And when I finally decided to consult my doctor, he confirmed my worst fear. Dennis, you have type 2 diabetes. And from then on, my life was ruled by medications and constant chidings from my doctor to live a healthy lifestyle. And here's the thing, I listened to everything my doctor said. I swallowed the pills. Then I used the injections he prescribed when the pills were no longer enough. I exercised more. I tried really hard to limit the sugars and carbs in my diet. And yet, despite all of that, my blood sugar numbers just kept going up, frequently spiking to dangerous levels after I'd eat. And every time I visited the doctor for a checkup, he'd just want to push more pills on me or up the dosages of my insulin. And I even got the feeling sometimes that he silently judged me for my type 2 diabetes, like he thought I was some slob who was choosing to stay sick. Have you ever had an experience like that? It can be both humiliating and infuriating. And if you're dealing with out-of-control blood sugar right now, then I want you to know that a lot of this really isn't your fault. And I'm not just saying that to be nice, because, as you're about to see, the real culprit behind insulin resistance, high blood sugar, and so much more is something that no doctor has ever told you about before. Even though there are 9,427 scientific studies from places like UCLA and Harvard, all proving it, you're going to be really floored when you hear what this is, especially if, like me, right now, your high blood sugar makes you feel terrified, as you feel worried about what will happen if your numbers don't go down, going blind, losing your limbs, having a heart attack, or suffering a stroke, becoming a burden to your loved ones. As the medical bills and insurance premiums keep piling on, diabetes can leave you living in constant dread of your next doctor's visit, because it'll only be more bad news. I know that's how it was for me, at least. And then things took a horrifying turn when, during a mission trip to Malaysia with my son, my type 2 diabetes spiraled out of control and nearly ended my life. It's tough for me to share this next part, but it's also what led me to stumble upon the insulin regenerating breakthrough that miraculously shifted my blood sugar levels from an alarming 245 milligrams over deciliters down to an average of 95 milligrams over deciliters on average, without any drugs, medications, strict diets, or surgeries. And this same breakthrough has been a lifeline for over 136,498 men and women from all walks of life to achieve similar results. So let me go ahead and share what happened. Our mission trip was to a remote village in the interior of Malaysia. And while we'd been both looking forward to it, I was especially excited, since I knew this trip would be one of my last chances to spend a lot of quality time with my son before he graduated high school. And for the first few weeks, everything went perfectly. We spent our days helping to build a new schoolhouse and chapel, and our evenings breaking bread with the wonderful villagers. It felt like a blessing that my son and I could spread Christ's love to these folks. But then, midway through the third week of the mission, I started having these intense cramps in my abdomen. At first, I thought they were caused by something I ate, or maybe dehydration, and I tried to ignore them. But after a few days, the cramps were becoming more frequent and intense. And then one day, while I was working under the sweltering Malaysian sun, helping to put the roof on the new schoolhouse, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach and the world around me started to spin. After that, I vaguely remember hearing several people shout and scream. Then the next thing I remember is waking up in the bed of a hospital with my son looking terrified by my side. There were tubes coming out of me. The hospital was dingy and unkempt, and to make matters worse, no one around us spoke any English. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, my son was able to track down a doctor who did speak some broken English. And while that brought a feeling of relief, it was very short-lived, because the doctor said that based on the tests they'd run, it seemed clear that my kidneys were beginning to fail, that it was due to my high blood sugar, which they'd measured at over 250 milligrams over deciliters at the time of my hospitalization, and that I probably had less than 2 months until my kidneys shut down entirely and I'd need to go on dialysis. I was in shock, and my son just kept repeating how he'd read somewhere that people who go on dialysis always die within 10 years, which definitely didn't make things better. It was like I'd woken up inside of a nightmare, and if you told me that just days later, I would stumble onto a powerful, insulin-regenerating secret hidden deep in the heart of the Malaysian rainforest, a breakthrough that would take my blood sugar from over 245 milligrams over deciliters to below 165 milligrams over deciliters in just a few weeks, and under 100 milligrams over deciliters in less than 2 months, or that this same breakthrough would completely restore my kidneys at the same time, I would have thought you were crazy. And yet, that's exactly what happened. So let me explain. You see, after I got released from the hospital, I decided to return to the village and finish out the last week of our mission, even though the doctor and my son both said that was nuts. Maybe they were right. But I hate not finishing anything I start, so I put my foot down and said it was my choice, and back to the village we went. And of course, immediately surrounded by locals and missionaries upon returning, all asking what happened and if I was okay. I said I was fine. Then I headed to our hut to take a nap. But I'd only been asleep for about 20 minutes when suddenly there was a soft knock outside. When I opened the door, I saw that it was Bintang, one of the villagers who I'd become friendly with over the past month, and he had a very serious look in his eyes. "Dennis," Bintang told me, his voice barely more than a whisper, "I heard about your sugar demons." At first, I didn't know what Bintang was talking about, but without waiting for me to speak, he continued, "Our village once had these demons too, but we defeated this devil a long time ago. Please, let me show." Then Bintang walked hurriedly toward the jungle, motioning repeatedly for me to follow him. For a moment, I stood there frozen, unsure of what to do. But then I heard this voice inside my head telling me that I should trust this man. And I don't know if it was God or what, but I'd never experienced anything like it. So I chased hurriedly after Bintang, following him deep into the rainforest, until we reached an area that was carpeted with dense, woody vines and vivid green leaves. "These leaves are sugar destroyer," Bintang told me in a whisper as he plucked off several of the leaves. Then without waiting, he darted even deeper into the jungle, with me trying desperately to keep up. By the time we were done, Bintang must have made at least 7 stops, plucking leaves from vines, grabbing strange fruits and nuts from trees, pulling thick purple roots from the ground. And the moment we returned to the village, Bintang took me straight to the hut of an ancient-looking woman I hadn't met before, where he unloaded all of the fruits, leaves, nuts, and flowers that he'd collected. And I watched in amazement as, without saying a word, the old woman smashed and ground these jungle ingredients together in a large stone bowl with surprising dexterity, until, eventually, they'd been reduced to a shiny gray-colored paste, which she funneled into a clay jar and handed to me. "Eat 1 pinch of paste each day," Bintang told me as we left the woman's hut. "You listen and soon, sugar demon will be no more problem for you." Then, without another word, Bintang walked briskly away. And I was left holding this mysterious jungle paste in my hands, wondering what on earth I'd just experienced. Were the locals playing a joke on me? Were they trying to kill me? Or were they really trying to help me? My head raced with a million logical reasons why I shouldn't try this weird jungle paste. And yet, in my heart, I knew that I would. Because something deep inside me was saying this was part of God's plan. So, gingerly, I took a small pinch of the paste and swallowed it. And after that, all I could do was wait to see if anything happened. The next morning when I woke up, I felt about the same as before. And when I measured my blood sugar levels, they were still dangerously high at 239 milligrams over deciliters. And after 3 days of swallowing a pea-sized amount of this jungle paste each afternoon, I still didn't notice any major changes. And while yes, I had slept surprisingly well the night before. That certainly wasn't compelling evidence that my sugar demons were being exiled from my body. This is probably a waste of time, I told myself. And if I wasn't so stubborn, or didn't hate not seeing things through so much, then I probably would have given up. Since I am really stubborn though, I decided to keep going. And thank God. Because when I checked my blood sugar on the 5th morning of using this paste, I saw something very odd. My blood sugar levels were about 22 points lower than the day before, which was still much too high. But even I had to admit it was a big drop. And since the paste certainly wasn't hurting, I decided to keep using it when I returned to America. Which wasn't a problem, as Bintang and the villagers had given me several jars of it right before I left. Each afternoon, I took another pinch of the paste. And to my surprise, with each day that passed, I woke up feeling better and better. I mean, I was getting some of the best sleep I'd had in years. I had way more energy throughout the day, even after I ate big meals. My thinking was clear, and I was shocked by just how much my blood sugar levels were dropping. From 218 milligrams over deciliters to 205 milligrams over deciliters. 205 milligrams over deciliters to 196 milligrams over deciliters. Every day, they were down another 6 to 15 points. Soon my readings were routinely below 160 milligrams over deciliters. And are you ready for the most incredible part? When I finally mustered up the courage to see a kidney specialist here in the US, he said that based on the tests he was looking at, the doctor in Malaysia must have been mistaken, because my kidneys didn't appear to be anywhere close to failing. I can't even describe the wave of relief that washed over me in that moment. I'd read the statistics. I knew how people who go on dialysis usually die within 10 years. And realizing that this was not going to be my fate, it was one of the best days of my life. And the only thing that dampened it was my worry that I'd eventually run out of this jungle paste that Bintang had given me. I knew I couldn't let that happen. And yet, I'd had no luck getting in contact with Bintang or anyone else in the tribe since returning to the US. So I did the next best thing I could think of. I reached out to a local laboratory here in Tennessee and convinced them to do an analysis of the paste. That way, I could at least know what was inside of it and see if I could replicate it. It took the lab 3 weeks to analyze, and to my surprise, when they finally did call me, it was the laboratory's founder on the other end of the line, a man named Dr. James Linton, and he asked if I could meet him in person as soon as possible to discuss my sample. So I went to see him the very next day, and sitting in Dr. Linton's office, it was hard not to feel intimidated by all his advanced degrees, or the fact that, as he casually mentioned, prior to moving back home to Tennessee to be closer to his aging parents, he'd spent over 10 years leading one of the world's most renowned medical research centers out in Boston. Then Dr. Linton asked me if I'd ever heard of something called pyroptosis. And when I told him no, he said that was okay, but that pyroptosis roughly translates to fiery death. And it plays a very important role in high blood sugar, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. Basically, Dr. Linton told me, pyroptosis is the process that our bodies use to get rid of cells when they're in danger. So, for example, when harmful bacteria or viruses begin to overwhelm our cells, instead of letting the bad guys in, your cells will sometimes choose to self-destruct, kind of like a controlled demolition. And that stops the bad guys from infecting your cells or spreading. Here, you can see what pyroptosis looks like here. See how in the image on the right-hand side, it's almost like the cell is exploding into a million little pieces? That's what happens during pyroptosis. Dr. Linton said that while normal pyroptosis is a good thing, since it helps our cells protect themselves, what scientists at Harvard had recently discovered is that in people who have high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes, what's really happening is that pyroptosis is occurring somewhere it shouldn't be, the insulin-producing cells of your pancreas. This is obviously really bad news, Dr. Linton told me. The main job of your pancreatic cells is to make insulin, and insulin is what tells the rest of the cells in your body to absorb sugar. So when your pancreatic cells start self-destructing because of pyroptosis, either you stop producing enough insulin, which causes sugar to pile up in your bloodstream, or the insulin you do produce becomes increasingly defective, which means it can no longer do its job like it's supposed to, and you become what's known as insulin resistant. Dr. Linton said this is why pyroptosis had become one of the hottest areas in health research. With nearly 9,427 published studies from places like Harvard, UCLA, and Duke University, among many others, all proving that pyroptosis was the real culprit behind prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, and insulin resistance. And when I asked Dr. Linton what was causing our insulin-producing cells to self-destruct, he said all kinds of things like the toxins, forever chemicals, and endocrine disruptors that are found inside our food, water, household products, and cosmetics could be to blame. And that this was also why most of us had never heard of pyroptosis before either. Big chemical companies, big food companies, water treatment centers, cosmetic makers, none of them want to take the blame for creating the products and chemicals behind the massive rise in type 2 diabetes in America. And Big Pharma isn't interested in talking about pyroptosis either, since they make tens of billions of dollars each year from drugs like metformin, synthetic insulin, and Ozempic, none of which do anything to stop the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas from self-destructing. And that's why this paste you asked us to look at is so remarkable, Dr. Linton told me. Literally every single herb, root, fruit, or nut that's found inside has been shown in numerous scientific studies to stop pyroptosis and lower blood sugar. I've never seen anything like it. And then Dr. Linton proceeded to tell me what each of the ingredients inside the Malaysian jungle paste I'd been using were, and I'll share them with you right now too. First, Dr. Linton said that the paste contained pure gymnema, and he said that in Malaysia and other cultures, gymnema is known as the sugar destroyer, because ancient tribes in those places have used gymnema for centuries as a way to naturally lower blood sugar. Dr. Linton said that while gymnema was becoming better known in the United States, the gymnema in the paste his lab had analyzed was fundamentally different on a chemical level. It was much purer than anything you'd find in the US, unless you worked for a major research lab somewhere like Harvard. And he said this purity made all of the difference. Because in numerous studies from places like the King's College in London, when scientists had studied the effects of extremely pure gymnema, they'd been shocked by just how powerful and effective the leaves from this woody Malaysian vine were. Pure gymnema literally stops the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas from self-destructing, Dr. Linton told me with a smile. And he handed me a study that was published in the Journal of Cellular Physiology and Biology as he did, where experts laid out in incredible detail how pure gymnema could switch off pyroptosis in our pancreas, leading to both improved insulin production and better blood sugar levels as a result. And then Dr. Linton even said that in a major clinical trial, when patients with type 2 diabetes took pure gymnema for 3 weeks, their fasting blood glucose plummeted by a staggering 50.5 milligrams over deciliters, and their post-meal blood sugar levels dropped by 40.5 milligrams over deciliters. While in another major clinical trial, post-meal blood sugar levels in people with type 2 diabetes fell from 215 milligrams over deciliters to 142 milligrams over deciliters in a single week after they were given an extract of pure gymnema. And he said that in an eye-opening study that was published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, those who took pure gymnema saw their HbA1c levels tumble from 12% to 8%. Their fasting blood sugar levels dropped from 174 milligrams over deciliters to 124 milligrams over deciliters, and their bad cholesterol levels plummet by 30%. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? Dr. Linton asked with a note of awe in his voice. And remember, that's just one single ingredient. So let's move on to the next one our lab identified, which is a very specific form of fenugreek seed that's known in Malaysia as bird's foot fenugreek. Dr. Linton said that just like gymnema, multiple clinical studies have now proven that bird's foot fenugreek not only stops the self-destruction of insulin-producing cells in our pancreas, it makes those cells produce more insulin too. And to help me understand why that really mattered, Dr. Linton handed me a copy of a clinical trial that was published in the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Disorders, where scientists took 140 people and gave half of them fresh bird's foot fenugreek in an extract, while the other half got a placebo, basically a fake version. By the end of the study, the scientists found that the fenugreek group's blood sugar levels were 420% better than the control groups, and their pancreases were producing much more insulin too. And Dr. Linton said that when scientists at the University of New Mexico had looked at 14 additional clinical trials, totally 894 men and women, they were shocked to find that those given bird's foot fenugreek routinely saw their blood sugar levels drop by 37.45 milligrams over deciliters or more. And they experienced dramatic reductions in their insulin resistance as well. Isn't that exciting? I mean, what these studies suggest is that between pure gymnema and bird's foot fenugreek alone, it would be virtually impossible for you to not lower your blood sugar levels dramatically, as your pancreas produces more insulin and your cells get back to letting sugar inside. And yet, as powerful as both pure gymnema and bird's foot fenugreek are, they are just two of the ingredients that Dr. Linton's laboratory had identified. The next ingredient in the paste was Malaysian bitter melon, which studies has proven to stop pyroptosis in your pancreas, reduces insulin resistance, and even help your pancreas to regenerate more insulin-producing cells too. Dr. Linton said that in one clinical trial from 2022, where adults with type 2 diabetes took Malaysian bitter melon regularly, their fasting blood sugar levels dropped from 172.5 to 159.4 milligrams over deciliters on average. And in a brand new study that was just published in April of 2023, people who took Malaysian bitter melon had blood sugar levels that were 22 milligrams over deciliters lower than the placebo groups after just 12 weeks. Plus, that 2023 study found that the bitter melon group's pancreatic cells were producing 3 times more insulin too. So just imagine pure gymnema, bird's foot fenugreek, and Malaysian bitter melon all going to work inside your body, as they don't just heal the insulin-producing cells you already have, but also help your pancreas to produce more of those cells too, until it's virtually impossible for sugar to stay stuck in your bloodstream. How much money could you save on drugs, doctor visits, and insurance premiums? And how much would your life change? Probably a lot. And Dr. Linton said that the jungle paste Bintang had given me also included a high concentration of folic acid from Malaysian papaya, which turns out to be really important, since studies keep finding that when we're deficient in this crucial nutrient, it almost immediately causes the insulin-producing cells inside our pancreas to begin to self-destruct, along with alpha-lipoic acid from wild Malaysian spinach, which was found in a study out of the University of Arizona to lower blood sugar levels by 64%, while another recent study found that this form of alpha-lipoic acid can increase the body's insulin effectiveness by 86%, along with wild Malaysian ginger root, which multiple studies have proven could lower blood sugar, boost insulin, and reduce HbA1c levels. And a potent form of the mineral chromium from the Malaysian durian fruit, which was found to lower blood sugar levels by an average of 38.1 milligrams over deciliters, while improving insulin resistance, in a double-blind study published in the Journal of Metabolism. And then finally, Dr. Linton said that this jungle paste also contained a potent extract of the tropical fruit Garcinia cambogia, something that was dramatically purer than what you'd normally find in the US. And that studies had found this pure Garcinia could help people burn fat 2 times faster than diet or exercise alone, which was probably why my waist size had shrunk by several inches, and my gut had vanished since I'd been taking this Malaysian jungle paste. As Dr. Linton finished revealing all of these ingredients to me, I was both amazed and shocked. But what happened next was an even bigger surprise, because Dr. Linton looked me right and he said, "Okay, Dennis, so how do we get this into the hands of as many people as possible?" At first I was confused, but Dr. Linton told me that this was a once-in-a-100 lifetimes discovery, a perfect mixture of pure and unspoiled ingredients, each of which was scientifically proven to stop the real cause of insulin resistance and high blood sugar. And he said there was no way we could keep this quiet, not when nearly 50% of all Americans are pre-diabetic or have type 2 diabetes. And millions of those folks are dealing with things like vision loss, amputation, kidney failure, or heart disease, and the fear of dying young. In my heart, I knew he was right. This Malaysian jungle paste hadn't just been a gift from Bintang. It had truly been a gift from God. He had answered my prayers, and now I had no choice but to share this discovery with as many folks as possible. So I told Dr. Linton I was in, and together with the team at his lab, we got to work. It was far from easy. We spent 3 months tracking down the most pure sources of each ingredient, and it cost us a small fortune to fly them in directly from Malaysia. Then even after we got them, we had to wait another month for Dr. Linton's team to figure out how to recombine them in the right proportions, and another 6 weeks for the lab to figure out how to use nanotechnology to encapsulate the ingredients, which we'd decided to do so that taking this breakthrough would be easier, because you'd get all the ingredients in an easy-to-swallow pill, instead of having to eat a not great-tasting paste. And nano-encapsulation allowed us to do this without sacrificing freshness or potency. It was one of the most challenging things any of us had ever done. I drained my savings. Dr. Linton's lab invested over $1.3 million. But finally, after all those months, I was able to proudly hold our breakthrough in my hand. And now the only question was whether it would work anywhere near as well as the paste Bintang had given me. Based on all the science and all the research, we really believed it would. And to the immense relief of all of us, within just days of swallowing these capsules, the results I was experiencing didn't just match the jungle paste I'd been using, they were dramatically better. My blood sugar levels, which had crept back up to 165 milligrams over deciliter since running out of the paste, now plummeted to 95 milligrams over deciliters and then stabilized. I was sleeping better each night. I had zero symptoms of high blood sugar that I'd suffered from in the past. My nerve pain was gone. I was using the bathroom less. Even my sex drive came back to me. I felt phenomenal. And when Dr. Linton's team ran my labs and several more advanced tests, even they were shocked, because my kidney function was nearly perfect, while everything from my cholesterol to my blood pressure to my inflammatory markers were exceptional. And while that was all incredibly exciting, what was even better was seeing how our creation worked for others. You see, we didn't just give these insulin-regenerating capsules to me. We also recruited a group of 150 folks with high blood sugar from places like online forums. And within weeks of using this breakthrough, the calls, texts, and emails started flooding in. Emily, a teacher in Arkansas, told us, "I've had diabetes since my 20s, and it has been a constant struggle. With your formula, it's like the gray clouds have finally parted. I feel more energetic. I'm losing weight, and my blood sugar levels are consistently in the healthy range. It's not just a formula, it's a lifesaver." And Matthew, a 45-year-old IT professional in Ohio, reported, "As someone who's glued to a chair in front of a screen for most of the day, my type 2 diabetes was a ticking time bomb. It didn't help that I was always stressed and couldn't find the time to properly manage my health. Your formula has been a game changer. My blood sugar numbers are down more than 70 points. I feel more energized, and I'm even sleeping better." While Sarah, a busy mom of 3 in Arizona, said, "With 3 young kids, managing my diabetes was an uphill task. I've always felt guilty about not being more present and active for my kids. But your formula has changed all that. I no longer live in fear of sudden spikes. I'm playing with my kids in the park, going on family hikes, things I couldn't even dream of before. And my doctor is just as shocked as me. After our last visit, he told me, whatever you're doing, keep doing that. And now it's your turn to join Emily, Matthew, Sarah, along with the 136,498 men and women whose lives have been changed forever. So let me proudly introduce you to GL90. GL90 is a first-of-its-kind breakthrough, and it's for anyone who is struggling with high blood sugar levels, endless fatigue, or the constant worry that comes with the threat of type 2 diabetes. It's an exact replica of the Malaysian jungle paste that Bintang gave to me, and that saved my life and ended my struggle with diabetes. But rather than eating an unpleasant paste, thanks to new advances in nanotechnology and encapsulation, with GL90, you just take 2 small, easy-to-swallow capsules each day, and these ingredients will go to work inside your body, halting the self-destruction of your insulin-producing cells, allowing your body to produce more insulin, and even reversing the insulin resistance you already have. From the moment you start with GL90, an incredible transformation will begin to occur. Just a few days in, you'll begin to notice a distinct improvement in your sleep and energy. The relentless dizzy spells and worry that used to plague you become less frequent and intense. You'll see how your blood sugar is no longer spiking. Instead, your readings are going lower and lower, and as those days turn into weeks, your numbers will only improve. So just imagine waking up each day to blood sugar levels consistently within the healthy range, free from the anxiety of insulin shots, as you can once again enjoy your favorite foods without guilt or worry, because you no longer have the dark cloud of high blood sugar hanging over your head, and all the horrible and scary complications that come with it. That's what's in store for you. And Dr. Linton and I have ensured that only the finest ingredients are used in GL90. Each and every component is scrutinized and certified for its purity to deliver an impeccable quality product. This means GL90 is free of harmful metals or toxins, and each capsule crafted meticulously within an ultra-modern facility that unyieldingly complies with all FDA guidelines and adheres to good manufacturing practices, GMP. And while the ingredients are flown in fresh from Malaysia at great expense, GL90 is proudly produced right here in the USA. So it's no surprise that since its introduction to the public, GL90 has been virtually impossible to keep in stock. In a mere span of 3 months, we've sold over 136,000 bottles, and the demand continues to soar. Because with GL90, Americans who have been relentlessly battling their high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes now have a natural solution that truly works. And they are sharing this insulin-regenerating breakthrough with their friends and family. The only downside to all of this is that with skyrocketing demand, we're constantly running out of stock, and there's really not much we can do about it, especially considering these premium natural ingredients are sourced from some of the most remote regions in the world with painstaking attention to quality, which is why each time we run out of GL90, it can take upwards of 6 months to replenish it. And that's also why it is absolutely vital that you secure your supply of as much GL90 as you can right now. The last thing we want is for you to interrupt your regimen before you've fully reclaimed your health. In fact, based on what we've observed and what our customers share with us, the most remarkable results are seen when someone uses GL90 consistently for at least 180 days. And that's what many of the most compelling studies about GL90 suggest too. Because even though you may see marked drops in your blood sugar levels and notice that you're losing weight, sleeping better, and experiencing much more energy within a few short weeks, 6 months is the duration that's really needed to stabilize your blood sugar levels permanently. That way you have the best shot at living a healthy, worry-free life for decades to come. Don't let high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes dictate your life. Secure your supply of GL90 today and bid farewell to the constant anxiety and inconvenience of managing your condition. We've made every effort to ensure that GL90 is accessible to every American who needs it. And after carefully sourcing these ingredients, overseeing production, and minimizing overhead, we are proud to offer you this life-changing formula at the lowest possible price. That way you no longer have to squander your hard-earned money on treatments that don't deliver, and you can finally break free from the relentless cycle of insulin shots and constant monitoring. Now, you have a much better option. And GL90 is available exclusively on this website and only while our stock lasts. We aren't interested in mass producing this breakthrough, and it would be virtually impossible to do this even if we wanted. Since the ingredients are flown in fresh from the other side of the world, and the nanotechnology we use to encapsulate them is extremely time-consuming and expensive. So going big with GL90 will never happen. We only produce as much as we can personally oversee. And if you spot GL90 anywhere else other than this website, be aware that you are not getting the authentic product. Because we will never sell on Amazon or eBay since we can't guarantee proper quality control on such a grand scale. GL90 is your safety net, today and for the foreseeable future. It allows you to feel the life-changing effect of steady blood sugar levels, and to say farewell to the constant anxiety, the unforeseen waves of fatigue, and the restrictive diets that have been ruling your life. You'll finally reclaim control of your life, no longer bound by the constant demands of your condition. With just 2 easy-to-swallow capsules of GL90 each day, you'll be amazed by just how quickly and totally your blood sugar levels can improve. So don't allow this golden chance to pass, especially when the number of bottles we have in stock are already very limited. Especially when, with your investment in GL90 today, you'll be spending considerably less than you would on a lifetime of insulin injections, constant glucose monitoring devices, and endless doctor appointments. And unlike those temporary fixes, GL90 offers what we believe to be the real opportunity to normalize your blood sugar levels, which is why this decision isn't about money. It's about reclaiming your health for you and for all those living under the shadow of diabetes. And that's why we've devoted countless hours to bring you this insulin regenerating breakthrough for less than $2 per day. You see on this webpage, and only while supplies last, you can take advantage of the deepest discount we've ever given by getting a full 6-month supply of GL90, which is 6 bottles, for just $49 per bottle. This is the perfect amount to fully support your blood sugar as you protect and regenerate the insulin-producing cells inside your pancreas. So don't miss your chance to regain control of your life with GL90. Go ahead and click below this video right now to choose your package now. All orders today also come with free shipping, which saves you an additional $9.97. And no matter if you choose the most highly discounted 6-month package of GL90, which is our most popular option, or a 3-month or 1-month supply, the most important thing is that you do take action right now. By clicking below this video and selecting your package while we still have this most recent run of bottles in stock, you can rest easy with this decision, by the way, because all orders are covered by our 180-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And here are the details. We're so convinced that GL90 is your gateway to a life free from the shackles of high blood sugar that we're offering a 180-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee to everyone. That means you've got a full 6 months to test drive GL90 and see what your experience is like. And while we are positive that you'll be thrilled with this transformation, if you're not for any reason at all, simply reach out to our friendly customer service team and you'll get a full refund with no questions asked. You don't even need to return your unopened or unused bottles. That's how confident we are that this insulin regenerating breakthrough will reshape your life. To put it simply, you either love GL90 or you don't pay a penny. And with our 180-day, hassle-free money-back guarantee covering you fully, why not choose the highly discounted 6-month package? It's the smartest choice. You're safeguarded either way. If GL90 changes your life, you've locked in our lowest rate of only $49 per bottle, saving more than anyone else. And if GL90 doesn't work for you, you simply request a refund and lose nothing. No matter the outcome, it's a win-win. So go ahead, choose your package by clicking beneath this video right now and start this journey to transforming your life with GL90. In just a few days from now, you could be waking up with more energy, free from the constant worry of monitoring your blood sugar levels, with no more sudden spikes, fainting, dizziness, or nausea, or anxiety about what you eat, or needing to avoid your favorite foods due to potential blood sugar spikes. You can finally take control of your life without the long shadow of diabetes always on your trail. And don't forget the money you'll save on medical bills, pricey medications, or insurance premiums either. Really, when you consider the potential impact GL90 could have on your life, choosing our 6-month package seems like a no-brainer. But remember, our discounted packages and free shipping offers are for a limited time only. Once our current inventory of GL90 is gone, it could take 6 months before we have more in stock. Don't let this opportunity to regain control over your health and your life slip away. Choose the 6-bottle package or any other package that suits your needs. To begin, simply click the button below to select the package that works best for you. You'll then be directed to our secure order page where you can enter your shipping and payment information. And your details are absolutely safe with us because we use the same encryption standards as top-tier companies like Amazon, eBay, and Walmart. Then after you click Submit, you'll be directed to our confirmation page where everything related to your order is explicitly detailed. This is your last chance, so please, don't let fear or uncertainty stop you, because I know from personal experience just how dangerous inaction can be. I waited too long to get my high blood sugar under control, and it nearly cost me everything. It makes me sick to think of what would have happened if I hadn't been handed this insulin regenerating breakthrough. It would have meant a life of kidney failure, daily dialysis, and even more injections and pills, until I ended up in an early grave. When you have a health scare like I had, it really makes you realize how easy it is to take life for granted, because you don't ever fully appreciate what you've got until you realize it could be taken away, and then it hits you like a ton of bricks. That's how it was for me. And if I can do anything to help you avoid a similar path to the one I was headed towards, I feel like it's my duty to do it. So please, I hope you'll make the smart decision today. The decision where you take a stand and fight back against your high blood sugar and all the painful damage that comes with it. That's the decision that makes the most sense, especially when you're covered by a full 180-day money-back guarantee. So go ahead, grab your order today. You've seen the science. You've seen the real-life success stories. You know in your heart that this will work. So why wait? Why risk coming back to this website later only to see that we've run out of bottles again, and it'll be another 6 months before we have more in stock? It's just not worth it. Your health is too important, and there's too much to lose. It really is your choice, and no matter which road you go down, I want to thank you for spending some of your time with me today as I shared my story and this life-changing breakthrough with you. Still with me? I know this has been a lot to take in, so let's address some of the most frequently asked questions I get. Question number 1. How does GL90, this insulin regenerating breakthrough, work again? GL90 contains powerful ingredients that stop your insulin-producing cells from self-destructing. This means that not only do your cells produce more insulin production, but you experience less insulin resistance. The result? A reduction in high blood sugar levels and a significant step towards a healthier you. Question number 2. Who is GL90 for? Well, a decade ago, my answer would have been people already battling high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. But seeing the rising numbers of people grappling with these concerns, I suggest GL90 to anyone even slightly worried about their blood sugar levels. Question 3. What occurs after I click the button below? After you select your package, you'll be directed to our completely secure checkout page. There, you can input your payment details and place your order. There are no hidden fees or surprise recurring charges. Your GL90 order will be delivered discreetly to your doorstep within 5 to 7 business days. Question 4. What if GL90 doesn't work for me? Have no fear. GL90 comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. You have a full 180 days to evaluate if GL90 is the right fit for you. If you're not thrilled with the results, merely contact our customer service team and we'll refund your investment. Question number 5. How long will GL90 be available? To be honest, it's tough to predict. Our mission is to assist as many people as possible on their journey to healthier blood sugar levels. But considering the unpredictability of the world's current situation, supply chains and ingredient availability could be affected. This is why it's crucial you get GL90 now, while supplies last. Remember, you're protected by our 180-day, 100% money-back guarantee. There's absolutely no risk to you. Question number 6. Okay, I'm ready to give GL90 a shot. What now? That's the easiest part. Simply click one of the buttons below and pick your package. Keep in mind, our most popular option is the 6-bottle package, where you can save over 70%. Once you've finalized your order, GL90 will be in your hands within 5 to 7 business days. Remember, you're protected by our rock-solid 180-day guarantee. This presentation is coming to a close. I want to express my gratitude for sticking with me until the end. Go ahead and choose your package now. Give GL90 a try for at least 30 days, and then share your experience with me. Thank you for watching.